In this episode of the Overlooked Bible, we'll be discussing Deborah, aka Torah Deborah, the nursemaid of Rebekah, and her death. Please click on the subscribe button below. It helps me out and only takes a moment. Thanks. Who was Deborah, and why did she merit being included in the Torah? The key verses are, Deborah, the nursemaid of Rebekah, died and was buried in Beit El under the oak tree, and Rachel gave birth and had difficulty in her labor. What do we know about Deborah? All the information about her is in this one verse. She was Rebekah's nursemaid, she died, and she was buried under an oak tree. She doesn't sound too important, does she? But yet, the Torah never tells us about Rebekah's death or Leah's death. This seems odd. There are 36 women mentioned in the Torah by name. Some might say 38, depending on how you count. But only 4 women in the entire Torah are included for their own deeds. Who are they? They're the 2 midwives who ignore Pharaoh's edict to kill all Israelite male babies. That would be Shiphrah and Puah. And then there's the big sister whose cleverness helped save her baby brother. That would be Miriam. What do these 3 women have in common? Their specific event involves them saving babies. These 3 women are recorded in the Bible for what is considered a significant act. There is only one other woman in the Torah who is neither wife, sister, daughter, or concubine. That is Deborah. But why is she in the Torah? Rashi says she was sent by Rebekah to tell Jacob it was time to return home. But why not just say that? Rashbam says she's named because the Torah is recording the places Jacob visited. Why not just say that? Shadal says the Torah wants to say nursemaids are important. But wouldn't Shiphrah and Puah serve as better examples? Others say it's to hint Rebekah died. But why not just say that? What do we know about Deborah? All the information about her is in this one verse. She was Rebekah's nursemaid, she died, and she's buried under an oak tree. This information must be important. Let's start with her burial, since that's the easiest. When you bury someone near a recognizable landmark, it's for people to be able to find it. In other words, she was considered important. What about her being a nursemaid? These characters lived 4,000 years ago. The infant mortality rate during that era was 50%. Yet, Jacob's family had 11 sons and 1 daughter who made it into adulthood with no recorded deaths. This is incredible. How can one explain such a thing? Was the reason for Jacob's children all living into adulthood that they had an unusually skilled nursemaid and midwife? Just like Miriam, Shiphrah, and Puah, Deborah is included in the Torah because she saved babies. Then the Torah says she dies. The Torah records this because it's important. But wait, that's not the end of the story. What happens 8 verses later? 8 verses later, Rachel goes into labor, and without the skilled Deborah, Rachel dies. Who is Deborah? Why did she merit being included in the Torah? She was one of only 4 women included in the Torah for her own deeds, saving babies. Deborah was one of the greatest women of the Bible. She was a main reason why 11 of Jacob's sons were able to become the tribes of Israel. And that's why she's in the Torah. Thanks for watching.